A big hello and welcome. It's Kate from Zen Stitching, and I'm here with you today to have a chat with Mirjam Gielen, who is one of our fabulous Making Zen artists. Not only is she a fabulous Making Zen artist who has returned many times now, I've lost count, but she is the most amazing, inspirational person that I know. So a big hello and welcome, and I'm so thrilled that you could join us today, Miriam.
Well, hello, Case. I'm glad to be here again.
Again, I
I
know.
love being back on Making Zen.
And I love you being back too. I love our chats. It's always so wonderful to connect with you and hear your stitching philosophies and see what creative things you're making because you're always going down an interesting path.
Yes, well, I hope so. And I love sharing about it. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
all good.
We completely are, absolutely. And well, gosh, because we've done so many Making Zens together, it is really fun because you've shared so many of your beautiful techniques from kind of the blanket stitch, which looks very beautiful as an organic shape, through to the it's just a running stitch, really, isn't it? But then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
create these
Stacked running stitch.
beautiful patterns. So, so mesmerizing. And once you start stitching them, you can't stop. Same with the blanket stitch one as well. You're just like, let's do a little bit more. And and then you shared with us your beautiful stitch doll, stitch goddess from
Yeah.
last year, which was absolutely delightful.
Yes, yes. And there were so many people making them and also gifting them to others. That was really wonderful. I still get every now and then I get an email or somebody posts something about a doll that they've made for their friend or for their mother, and so that's kind of spreading out everywhere, these dolls, and always meaningful, always with something special for the person that made it and something special for the person receiving it. And so that's like I dropped a pebble in a pond and it's still rippling. I love that. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? And I love that analogy, and it seems to be coming up quite often because we come up with these beautiful ideas, share them, and then just to see how they grow and have a life of their own. And you see these ripples going out, and it's the creativity, but it's also more than that too, isn't it? Because behind the creativity, there's so much that we gain through the stitching
Yes.
process as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that too. And that was something that we think all felt during the pandemic, that it could help us. And I think now again, well, okay, let's immediately talk about something that maybe perhaps a bit difficult. There was someone who said, "Isn't this escapism, trying to escape from the realities of the world nowadays?"
Mhm.
And okay, I thought about it very seriously. Is it that? Is that what I'm doing? Trying to escape, not wanting to face everything that's going on? And no, that's not it. It's recuperation time. There are a lot of things that life can throw at you, and that can be quite hard to tackle. And you need energy to do that. You need to be rested. You need to have a fresh view on things. And I think that stitching is one of the things that can bring you back to yourself and can help to calm you, help to calm your uh, anxieties, your worries, because worries that that's like a little treadmill and you're getting nowhere. And there are also things that you simply can't change.
Mm.
It's, by stitching, you are in control, you are creating, you are making something, you're bringing something into the world. And that really helps to refresh, recuperate, and then it makes it easier to go out into the world again and face whatever you need to face.
Yeah,
So,
that's
uh, no, it's not escaping from things. It is having the necessary time to gather yourself, come back to yourself, feel your strengths again, and then after that, do what you need to do.
yeah, that's a really very interesting comment to receive, and I could imagine, yes, you would have spent some time considering it. Um, and I agree with you 100%. I think the act of stitching has so many therapeutic benefits on so many layers.
Oh, yes.
The act itself, I think some people liken it to active meditation, where
Oh, yeah.
your fingers are busy, but it gives your brain and your mind a chance to relax and be at peace and be centered. There's something about when your fingers are working and
Yeah.
doing the creativity, the mind has a chance to, like you say, recoup, recover, regroup, assess all of the things that are happening,
Yeah.
but in a mindful way so that you're not suffering from the anxiety. You're kind of working through it, I guess,
Yeah.
is
And
describe it.
I think these, and I think there are more crafts that can do that for you. But we're stitching, so let's talk about stitching. And it gives you a bit of training because you have little frustrations, your thread snags, or it curls and gets into this strange knots. Why? That you have to undo, or you use a color and you find out, no, that just isn't the color, and you have to start over again, for instance. So there are all these little frustrations. You have to be patient because sometimes it takes a while for a pattern to become clear, and that helps you for, okay, I can do this. I
Mm.
can I can work with frustration. I can practice patience, and even okay, this wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it nevertheless. So it's okay. So they're all in a mini surrounding. You get to experience all the kinds of things that you can experience in with bigger issues in your life too. So it gives a certain confidence. Hey, I can do this. I can create. I can be. I can decide. Um, I can be satisfied with myself. And yeah, that really builds up, and that helps. Yeah,
Yes, that's so true, isn't it? Because if you begin something, you don't have the confidence on how to do it, but through the perseverance, you're learning their technique, and like you say, you might come up in some snags with the thread tangling or getting knotted or dropping the needle or all of those things.
oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all the time, exactly. And it's really interesting because it's for a lot of people, people see it as women's work and just a hobby, but it really does, like you say, it builds resilience and it builds or lots of other great virtues within us as well. It is really quite an amazing thing for a humble piece of thread and a little bit of metal that we call a needle.
Yeah, and it is magical in a way because indeed what you say, you have a bit of fabric, you have a bit of thread, a needle, and at that moment that's just it. I mean, it might have a nice color or a nice texture or something, but it is not anything yet. And
Mm.
then you start to make something, you start to work on it, and then it kind of comes to life. It becomes something, and it can be very modest and just a very simple thing, but you bring something to life, and that's a magical process.
It is, isn't it? And I
A
guess
gift.
maybe having grown up and always creating stuff, I never really took a step back to realize the magic of creating in the sense that before you touched those materials and those tools, what you made didn't exist. And
Exactly.
it only existed up here. And it wasn't until you touched those things that the magic happened and then something was made. It,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite amazing.
And I also think that it can confront you with certain opinions that you have about yourself, certain convictions that often come from way back. That was also with the stitch goddesses and also with the workshop that I'm doing this year. That I for a long time had a conviction I can't work three-dimensionally because I have no my sense of space, something isn't good enough. I really don't know why I was thinking that. But now three-dimensional, that's too difficult. It's not for me. And then I was thinking, why? Where does this come from? And why am I so convinced that I can't do this and I do not have the ability to think three-dimensionally? And I couldn't come up with anything. There was not really a reason. Plus, I thought, well, I have been doing three-dimensional work, like making soft toys for my children, knitting sweaters. And well, that's also three-dimensional. Plus, okay, perhaps my skills aren't that great on that, but I can practice, I can learn, I can experience, okay, what kind of difficulties am I encountering and how can I conquer those difficulties? I mean, and again, what can happen? It's, it's not all that dangerous. So why not just try? And the workshop will be about felt balls. And my first experience with that was when I just impulsively bought a bag of small felt balls in a shop. You know, like you see something and you need to have it.
Hmm.
I must say, I usually try to work with what I already have.
Mm.
But in this case, they were calling out to me and I just bought them. And that evening, there was a storm here in the Netherlands. There was a storm raging. And we were a bit inland. We're not at the coast, but it was a big storm. And there was a lot of noise. And I was very much afraid that something would happen to the roof. And I was really anxious. I had a pain in my stomach and I was so nervous. And I felt, hey, you see me moving like, oh, I was so nervous. I had to do something with my hands. So I picked up these felt balls and I just started to stitch on them. And I'll show you a few.
Oh, look. Wow.
And this one, French knots,
Oh, fun.
in all different colors. And, you know, it doesn't have to be very difficult. Um,
Oh,
this one is
welcome.
just lines in the
Lovely.
back stitch, but then in two colors, just swirling around the ball. And that already was a very small exercise in three-dimensionality. So
Mm.
how do you divide your stitches over that ball? And I think I did like stitched on like six balls that evening, just ball after ball after ball. Uh, and it really calmed me down. And it was really, okay, you know what? If something happens to the roof, um, I can't do anything about it tomorrow. I can do it until tomorrow. I just can't go outside now. It's just the way it is. Most likely it will be okay. And also, when it's time to panic, I'll start panicking then. But now I'm stitching, and it gave me something to do, and it gave me focus,
Mm.
and it felt made me feel in control a
Mm.
bit. And hey, I'm not completely, you know, overwhelmed and paralyzed. I can do things.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there's some damage, okay, we'll do something about it tomorrow.
And
And so that really helped me. And I even could go to bed before the storm had completely passed, and I could sleep. So yeah,
well,
that was really when I literally felt how my anxiety with each ball was a bit less.
And that's so incredibly smart for you to realize that how anxious you were feeling, how and because of course being in a windy storm is horrifying when you can hear the winds outside and you're concerned that the roof might fly off and all of those kind of things. So to have the presence to pull your thoughts back in and to be able to sit down and stitch is such a great idea because it's in those moments where the mind does get out of control and
Yeah,
you're like, oh no, what is going to happen? What will happen if? And you kind of wind yourself up.
yeah,
So
yeah.
to be able to sit down,
Waiting for the disaster. Yeah,
yes, oh, exactly. Yeah, waiting for something, the storm to really hit. So to be able to sit down and focus and to be able to kind of, it's a soothing, I guess, in a sense too, isn't it? You're focused
yes,
on these little things in your fingers, the tactility of them, you're
yeah,
absorbing. So you're kind of you're focusing on the inwards and which would probably help calm the nervous system too when you think that each of our little pressure points on our
yes.
fingers is very um, integral to how we feel and how we can calm down.
Yes, and it is also supposed that your fingers have a direct connection to your brain. Uh, and they researched that with children and with young children that just had learned the colors. And then they would show them the colors and they would name a color, like for instance, yellow. And then the child was asked to point at the yellow ball or whatever they showed them. And also to name the color themselves. So point at something and then name the color. And it turned out that the fingers were always right. So the fingers pointed at the right color. But the child might, and then I say, what color is that? Then they would say red.
Mm.
But the fingers knew exactly where to point, and they did more tests, and they were convinced that the children's hands, the children's fingers, were ahead of the brain, the language, in comprehending things. So the fingers were connected to the brain and knew better what to do and what things were than the conscious part of the brain knew at that time. And I think, yeah, I think that's true. I think there is that connection, direct, immediate connection of your hands to your brain, and uh, doing things with your hands is really, really helpful in, yeah, feeling at home in yourself, being
So
connected to yourself.
hearing the study, that's totally fascinating to hear that the studies have been shown to demonstrate that we can understand our world through our fingers, maybe perhaps before our brain can
Yeah.
comprehend and create the language that we use to describe it. Because I always say that I use, and I think we all do, we all use our fingers as a second way of seeing,
Mm, yeah.
particularly textile artists, but I know we all do
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You always want to touch things.
Yeah, that's it. You have to go and touch things, see what it feels like, and I guess little kids are really like that because they walk around and they put their hands on everything, don't they? To kind of
Everything.
feel the textures and if it's smooth or soft or whatever. So that's really fascinating to hear that there's been studies that have a direct link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
um, that is with the balls. I'll show you one on a big felt ball.
Mm.
And the stitch might be recognizable for those that have been in Making Zen before. This is the stacked running stitch, but now done on a ball. And this is this one I bought. It's a dryer ball, and uh, and it's just oh, so lovely to touch it, just to have in your hands and play with it a little bit, and that tactility that is just yeah, that's so wonderful about textiles, I
Mm.
think, and about stitching, and you get certain textures, and For this one, there is a felt ball inside, but you can't see it anymore.
Oh, wow.
I'll put it even closer. I did some uh, silk that I dyed with madder on top, and then manipulated it. And then in the little creases and valleys, I did some beading. And
Beautiful.
also that's just another tactile experience.
It
So that's one
really,
of the things that I like about three-dimensionality. That's even you can pick up objects, you can turn them, you can hold them in your hands, you can feel them. So that's an extra.
yeah.
And I discovered that just by doing it, by trying, because this is not something I thought of before. It was just more fun. Oh, so difficult, three-dimensional. And
I think you've been from just memory of your Instagram feed, three-dimensionality has been happening for, would you say the past year?
yeah, maybe even longer, because
Maybe
the
even
Stitch
longer.
Goddess is already part
That's
of that
true.
2 years now,
Yeah,
perhaps.
two
I think.
years.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with the balls that you've shown us and how the small ball kind of had its inception or conception during the storm, which came first? Was it the small balls or the larger balls that you were
The
working
small
on? It
balls.
was the
Yeah,
small balls. Yeah.
yeah.
Eh,
And that's also just, you know, indeed, what can go wrong, and perhaps, uh, well, nothing. Maybe there. Suppose it hasn't happened yet, but suppose there's a ball that you think, yeah, no, not so satisfied with it. Okay, just one little ball.
mm,
That's not such a problem. You have learned things from doing it wrong, if there is anything like doing it wrong. But you, oh, okay, and then next time you think, oh, I'll use brighter colors, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. But actually, I haven't. There is not one that I think, oh, I should throw that away. No, it's just each ball is, oh, and I can also do that. And oh, let's try that. And oh, that was lovely. Let's do it again, but in slightly different colors. So that's and what use do they have? They're just for fun and joy. Although, and that's in the bonus tutorial, I do make tassels with them.
no.
And
Ah,
just with remnants of fabric and thread ends and the beads that I found in necklaces in thrift shops that I take apart, and
fun.
they make lovely uh, uh, tassels to attach to gifts,
Mm,
for instance. But you can also make them into a necklace
they're beautiful.
or
Absolutely
garland,
beautiful,
or
Miriam. They're so lovely.
so. I've been discovering things that you can do with felt balls. So in an impulse, I bought a bag of them. But you can also, it's not that hard to make them yourself. And I still had some wool for felting. Then you can make bigger balls, but also perhaps more
Mm.
blob-like things.
Wow. Oh,
You can influence that a bit. Also a very
yes.
easy
They are
method.
so fun. What a lovely shape.
Yeah,
Mm.
and and that also okay, it has one side and another side, and how do you want to go around it? And where are your lines going, and where are they going to meet at the other end? So again, little challenges on how to work three-dimensionally, just discovering it as you go.
Mm. Mm.
And yeah, that really it's a bit of a bug that I caught with these balls. And as I said, they're not specifically useful unless perhaps in some cases that you can make them into a necklace or a garland or a
Yeah.
pincushion. I have a very small one that became a needle minder
Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous.
with a little
Oh, and
pin
it's a brooch.
brooch. I
Oh.
can pin it to my sweater, and then but I'm a little bit afraid of pinning myself to it.
That's
or a
so cool.
bigger pin cushion,
Oh,
a
look.
bigger felt ball with
Wow.
little petals around it.
You have been
And
having fun.
yeah, indeed. And
Yeah.
that's yeah, they're for fun,
So delightful.
joy.
And isn't there something fun about working with stitching into wool? So you're having fun by your work, either making the shapes or you're finding them and then stitching into them. There's something about sewing felt. I don't
Yeah,
know, it's an
it's
extra tactile
warm
experience.
and comfortable, and because there's not a weave in the material, it doesn't matter where your needle goes down.
Mm.
Every spot is the right spot, so to speak, and it's so easy. It's so easy and comfortable, and somehow so relaxing to hold something in your hands that way, a ball that you are stitching on. Easy to take with you also.
Yes.
So yeah,
And then
no big hoops or whatever needed. Just a small thing that you can take with you on a train trip or
yeah.
to a
Yeah.
doctor's waiting room when you're
Yes.
uh, perhaps also a bit anxious.
Well, there's a lot to be said about being able to work small and to be able to travel with whatever you're working on so that you can kind of just pick it up and go, whether you're on a train or at the doctor's office or wherever. There's lots of useful waiting time that it would be much better spent doing something fun and tactile with our fingers rather than, scrolling through the phone or
A magazine that
yes. Headlines that you don't need to see, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And the other really nice thing, thinking going back a couple of conversations ago when you were saying that you're working with the small bowls and you might do one, there was never any mistakes, you were always learning from them. The nice thing is they're a small size, so you can finish one, and if you're like, well, I'm not really sure about that, you can move on to the next one. So you learn from it.
Yes.
And so you'd have a really beautiful connection of things as they're being created, what works, what you'd like to expand upon, because you're always learning something new every time you
Yeah.
try a different technique or a different color, different stitch.
And up until now, you can do all stitches on such a felt ball, everything. French knots, bullion knots, the blanket stitch. You can do weaving on them, and I mean needle weaving.
Wow.
I've done that in some spots.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, you can if you want crochet around them, uh, beading. Well, I haven't found anything that you can't do yet with a felt ball.
Do you find that every time they are a felt ball and then you just embellish on top of them, or have you kind of started using other things as the ball substrate to stitch on top of?
Yeah, I have one, and the felt ball itself is completely disappeared. I did the ribbed spiderweb stitch on it, so it's
Mhm.
completely covered in thread. And then I gave it some petals with I had eco-printed silk, and I attached wire to it with the buttonhole stitch, and then I could cut them out and attach them. And well, you tell me what it is. Some kind of fruit, flower, can be anything.
Yes, it's very beautiful. Absolutely delightful. And is it a silk fabric that you've used for the
Yeah,
petal-like shapes?
yes,
Yeah,
eco-printed silk.
lovely. How delightful. Well, and working in that size too, it means that anything that you're working on, you don't need large bits of material or
No,
big bits
no.
of anything. You can literally be working on small bits of fabric and just putting them together very carefully.
Yeah, yeah. And making them is a lot of fun too, and something you can easily do with kids. And these small balls, well, that will be in the workshop how you can do them. It's also, let's see if I can find an example where I did make a small one, but in multiple colors. And I think that's the great thing about
Mm.
uh, making them yourself. So with a bit of green and orange and yellow. And then I stitched a bit of fall colors. And then I stitch little branches on them. And
Yeah.
that's the great thing about making them yourself. And it's absolutely not difficult that you can choose the colors and mix the colors and create a new ball like that. And it's really fun and also a little bit magical, but because that wool is all fluffy and loose, and when you use soap, hot water soap, and rubbing and rolling and that kind of thing, it's also magically uh, changes to something else, and it becomes firm and becomes something you can stitch on. That's a very special feeling too. So I like felting, and felting, making really big things that can be quite hard.
Mm. Very
That's very
physical.
physical.
Mm.
But making these small balls is, yeah, you have to do a lot of rolling, etc., and shaking. But no, it's not all
Yeah.
that hard. And putting your hands in warm, soapy water is also actually quite nice. So
Mm. Especially in the middle of winter, it's a lovely way to warm up. You can warm up
yeah,
those hands and
and
create.
children love to do it, love to play with felting and create things. So that's something that's really nice to do to with some precautions as to the soapy water shouldn't be too hot, of course,
Mm.
but with some precautions, children will love it.
Oh my goodness,
Soap and
absolutely.
water and creating things. I mean, what's not to like?
I think little children and big children will enjoy
Yeah.
it equally as much. Oh, how delightful. So you teach us the steps of making the felt ball and
Yes.
then embellishing it on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And there are two little things that are in the workshop, but shall we keep them a secret for now?
I
Or
don't
shall I
know.
show?
I'm not very good at secrets.
Okay, I'll show the two little projects that I do with the felt balls that I create in the workshop and with the explanation. And the one is a tiny pumpkin,
Oh, look at that. That is so delightful.
just very cute little pumpkin.
It's
And the
incredibly
other is a
cute.
tiny apple.
Ah,
And sorry about my nails because I have been dyeing and my hands are still a bit colored from that.
beautiful. Oh, well, I love the apple. I love the pumpkin. And I love your nails. I thought you'd been out in the garden playing. I was like, you're lucky.
Yeah, that looks a bit like like that. And I've already been scrubbing from, oh, I have this interview with Kate. But it's useless. It will take a couple of days to pass. Yeah.
I think that means that you are an authentic artist when you've got, dye stuck in around your nails and all that
Yes.
kind of good stuff. Means you've been having lots of fun getting creative.
Yeah.
All that
Yeah.
good thing too.
I love eco dyeing too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love to mix up techniques like this felting and stitching and weaving, crochet. Yeah, to go down different paths and see if that is something that belongs to me, something that speaks to me, and what I can do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, thinking about that, I've seen one of your latest rabbit holes, perhaps as a way of describing it, is you're really enjoying creating mini gardens using embroidery and different things,
Yeah.
for want of a better way of describing it, different substrates maybe to put the garden on.
Oh, yeah. If you don't mind me getting it, I'll be back in a minute.
I would love it.
So this is my mini garden, and it has a little pond and
Oh, it's so cool.
path and
I can see
little
it put.
plants, and even two pots or baskets. I want to see it, and lily pads in the pond.
How
So
delightful.
creating my own little mini world here
So much fun. It's so,
with
so,
all kinds of three-dimensional stitches.
yeah, it's so lovely. I know I was like so captivated. I wanted to talk really softly. I don't know why, but it was just so beautiful.
And also very, yeah, fun to do, and feeling that creating such a little mini world, whether it's on a ball or in this case in a circle, it feels good to create beautiful things, to bring beautiful things in the world and share them with others, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
making the ripples in the pond, hopefully. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I think it's so important to be surrounded by beauty. And if we can have, I think it's William Morris who said, if we could be surrounded by beautiful, beautiful things that are also functional, then that's the best of both worlds because you've got the
Mhm.
beauty and also the practicality. And but in some senses, it's just the beauty, isn't it? It's like having the plants
Yeah.
in the room, bringing in your mini worlds from bringing the outside in, and just brings so much joy.
Yes, yes. And
Mm.
I think that it's also, and that's very, I think, very much part of the textile world and textile activities is sharing,
Mm.
showing others. They show their work, giving each other tips, sharing techniques, sharing patterns. Um, and um, I don't know if there are any other crafts that have this level of connectivity and sharing. And it's like a fabric that we weave together, connecting us all. And yeah, that's very special too. It's not just about me alone in my home doing this, although that is very enjoyable. It's also being able to tell others about it, to let them share, to be inspired by others. Oh, I'm going to try that. Yeah, that's also a wonderful thing about textile activities.
That's really interesting that you should say that. I hadn't really given that much thought about how sharing and inspiration might work across the other disciplines to the same extent. Maybe similar but different. But
I
what you
think there
just
are similarities, but I hear so many times, I learned this from my mother, I learned it from my
Mm,
grandmother, I learned, uh, so there is a lot of that. It was always normal to teach each other, to show each other, to share, to, oh, look at this beautiful yarn that I found. And perhaps it's also, but I can not really think that it's, oh, look at this beautiful paint that I found. Or, uh, no, this is just because it is a household thing. And
mm,
because lots of women just had to learn it to be able to make their own clothes or make their own towels or whatever. And that made it something that for everybody. Everybody knew about it. And also, when I start a Zoom class or a live class, I don't have to explain, well, this is fabric, this is thread, because everybody knows that.
mm,
It's
mm.
so that's that we have a knowledge about that we pretty much every one of us already knows and already shares,
Yeah.
and that you can have as a starting point. And people, even people that do not do any textile activities themselves, will say, "Oh, my mother used to do that. Oh, my sister makes such beautiful sweaters." Or there's always something in their world, in their life, someone who is active in this way. So there's always memories. Oh, I love to sit by my grandmother when she was sewing, and many people say that was so calming, even being in the same room as someone that is embroidering or knitting or something is calming. It's also it connects us all in the end.
It
Yeah.
really does. And you're so right when you say that being in the same room with someone who's sewing or knitting or stitching or whatever the case is. And it even translates on the screen. I can't say how many times I've been captivated by someone stitching on Instagram.
Yeah, mesmerizing.
Mesmerizing, absolutely. It's just the repetition of the needle going in and out. You don't even see the full project or anything, but you could just sit and watch it for hours.
Yeah, indeed.
No wonder we find it so calming.
Yeah,
And I really like how you were saying it's such a realm of sharing the different techniques, the fabrics, the love of the color and all that kind of thing. And it just made me think of how much fun the Facebook group is as part of Making Zen, where everybody gets together and they're all sharing their projects and asking questions and asking for advice and giving advice and feedback.
yeah,
And then also taking all of these fabulous techniques that all the artists are sharing, like yourself, and then you'll get this amalgamation of
yeah,
ideas
yeah.
and projects.
Combine them. Yeah, that's also well. I'm always always blown away. And now this I know that I will be blown away, but yet again, I'm sure I will be. Oh wow! Yeah, people are so creative and so I get inspired too by watching it and seeing what people have made. And yeah, I don't tire of that, of people showing me what they've made. No, that's always, I can also, admittedly, scroll endlessly through these posts. Bit
Yeah.
addictive, but yeah, that's it's always inspiring and it's always lovely to see and to think that all over the world, literally all over the world, we are all connected and making these things
Yes.
together.
Yeah, it's a very much a magical experience. And I just love it. And I'm so thrilled that you're part of it. So thank you so much, Miriam, for being part of this amazing retreat, sharing your amazing creativity with us. I'm always excited to see what projects that you're going to come up with and share with us. Super excited. I love the little pumpkin. I love the little apple. I love the offering for the VIP pass as well. What a delightful
Yeah.
to make. Before we wrap up, Miriam, is there any tips or advice you have for someone who might be thinking, I'd like to do that, but it's too hard?
Well, it's not hard. Perhaps the harder thing is to go and buy the wool. That is perhaps but then you can get it almost anywhere and certainly online. And you can use very simple things, household things, just dishwasher detergents. So it's except from the wool roving or the wool fleece that you have to lay your hands on somehow. It's not the rest is you already have all those things, and yeah, it's not very difficult. Just go and play with it and have fun.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And get the little ones involved too if they're
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute delight talking to you.
Oh, I can't wait until it starts.
Me too. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Oh, yeah, it's going to be so much fun. Thank you for joining me in this creative journey. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And if you'd like to learn more about Making Zen, please check out the links below where you can find out all about the workshops and creativity, community, and all that kind of good stuff. Wishing you many happy hours of stitching.